Apologies for the little itch that we've had, but let's give you the headlines now. Ganduje backs President Tinubu as undisputed choice for 2027. In business, Senate fixes March 17 for passage of the 2026 appropriation bill. On the foreign scene, Venezuelan interim president announces proposal for mass amnesty. And in sports, Nigeria misses handball's World Cup after Angola defeats. Hello and welcome to all the viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Obong Osoro. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. The immediate party's national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, has dismissed claims that supports President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's re-election bid in 2027. Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje stated this in Abuja while receiving a delegation of the Northern Nigeria youth leaders drawn from various states who paid him a courtesy visit and formally decorated him as a patron of their forum. Our correspondent Sadia Yakubu reports.
The immediate past national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, says Nigeria is fortunate to be led by a president he described as a seasoned and pragmatic politician capable of taking tough but necessary decisions in the national interest. Ganduje insists there is no better candidate for southern Nigeria to lead the country beyond 2027 than President Bola Tinubu.
And from the southern part of Nigeria, there was no better person than Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We made our prediction, we made our confession, we made our commitment, and finally it became true. So Asiwaju has spent for only less than 4 years now. And we have seen the measures, the reforms that he undertook, the reforms that he introduced in order to improve the socio-economic development of this country.
Earlier, national leader of the movement, Murtala Muhammad Gamdi, described Dr. Ganduje as a role model, crediting him for empowering young leaders during his tenure as governor of Kano State. Gamdi said the forum has resolved to fully support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's re-election, pledging to mobilize youth across the 19 northern states and raise funds towards the president's nomination ahead of 2027 elections.
So we are here to tell you our aim and objective. As our father, whatever you focus, that is where we follow. With unanimous resolution, we have all agreed that this time around, inshallah, we are going to purchase form to Mr. President. We, the Northern Youth, there are nobody is better or is more powerful in this administration. Nobody have given support before even the campaign till date like you, our father.
The visit climaxed with the formal decoration of Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje as Grand Patron of the Northern Nigerian Youth Leaders Forum. Sadia Yakubu, reporting for Global Television News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has recognized the Nadadi Usman-led National Working Committee of the Labour Party following a Federal High Court order in Abuja. INEC updated its record to list Usman as a caretaker committee chairperson after Justice Peter Lefu that ended Julius Abure's tenure as national chairman. The Abure-led faction has rejected the ruling and vowed to appeal, deepening internal tensions within the opposition party ahead of the 2027 elections. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has given the federal government a 4-week ultimatum to fully implement outstanding agreements on salaries, allowances, and welfare. The decision followed the association's National Executive Council meeting held in Jos, Plateau State, where members acknowledged progress on some areas but raised concerns about unpaid professional allowances and delayed promotions. The association warned that failure to act could worsen industrial relations across public hospitals nationwide. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has denied reports that undergraduates are barred from sitting the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. Speaking in Port Harcourt, JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oluyode said the claims were false and being spread by fraudsters impersonating board members. He stressed and admitted that students are legally allowed to seek a change of course or institution and warned parents against encouraging examination malpractice. Following growing concerns over declining services and worsening infrastructure on key rail corridors, the Senate has set up an ad hoc committee to probe the award and execution of railway contracts across the nation. The decision was taken after lawmakers raised alarm over disruption on the Kano-Kaduna rail line. National Assembly correspondent Anyetia Patrick completes the reports.
The resolution followed a point of order raised by Senator Abdul Ningi, who drew the Senate's attention to what he described as the tragic decline in operations on the Kano-Kaduna rail corridor. He told the chamber that passenger services on the routes have dropped to just one trip per day, while cargo movement time has nearly doubled.
While the railway was working on full capacity, they were, of course, creating a revenue of close to 1.8 billion monthly. The story I'm about to reel out, Mr. President, that at this moment, there is no live cargo except one.
Supporting the concern, Senator Adamu Alero said persistent bandit attacks have caused extensive damage to rail facilities, contributing significantly to the reduction in train operations.
It is true that the number of trips has dropped drastically from 5 to only 1. And this is simply because the bandits have damaged the truck.
However, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, dismissed claims that inadequate funding was the primary challenge, insisting that poor quality infrastructure and substandard execution of contracts were at the heart of the problem. He stressed the need for a thorough legislative investigation into how railway projects were designed, awarded, and implemented.
We had set up a committee under you to look into this railway system. Look at the rail tracks, look at the coaches and everything, and why they were failing. And why it would take, like he said, 3.5 hours for something that should take 25 minutes to Kaduna by the modern railway standard.
The Senate says the ad hoc committee will examine railway project designs, funding patterns, execution standards, and maintenance frameworks, with a view to restoring efficiency and safety across Nigeria's rail network. From the National Assembly, Anyetia Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
The Armed Forces of Nigeria says it has recorded major operational successes across the country, neutralizing terrorists, dismantling illegal oil facilities, arresting hundreds of criminal elements, and rescuing kidnapped victims in coordinated operations nationwide. The update was given by the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, during the monthly operational briefing in Abuja. Defense correspondent Kikele Mokere reports.
The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, disclosed that troops working with air assets and other security agencies dismantled 53 illegal refining sites, neutralizing scores of terrorists, arrested over 450 suspects, and rescued more than 250 kidnapped victims across the country within the period under review.
With illegal refining activities in the Niger Delta region, the air component of Operation Delta Safe conducted armed reconnaissance missions over Bakana and Abuloma towns. During the mission, it was observed that a large-sized barge was siphoning petroleum products. The target was acquired and engaged accordingly.
In the northeast, Major General Onoja says troops of Operation Adinkai sustained aggressive ground and air operations against Boko Haram, ISWAP, and JAS elements across Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states. Between January 1 and 29, scores of terrorists were neutralized, 74 suspects arrested, 40 kidnapped victims rescued, while 44 terrorists and their families surrendered. It further reels out that in the southeast, Operation Udoka saw over 80 militants surrendered, dozens arrested, and kidnapped victims rescued, alongside a noted reduction in criminal activities across the region.
44 terrorists and their family members surrendered to troops during the month under review. Interestingly, 5 terrorist top commanders and 3 of their lieutenants were neutralized during firefights within the region.
The achievement recorded in January 2026, Major General Onoja says, cut across all theaters of operations and underlined the military's sustained push to restore peace, protect lives, and secure critical national assets. The Military High Command assures that pressure will be sustained on criminal elements nationwide with stronger interagency collaboration and community engagement. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
Nigeria and Saudi Arabia has moved to deepen bilateral cooperation in housing development, construction technology, and local building materials manufacturing, following high-level talks on the sidelines of the 2026 Real Estate Future Forum in Riyadh. Minister of Housing and Urban Development Ahmed Dagunwa held a bilateral meeting with Saudi Arabia's Minister of Municipal and Rural Affairs and Housing, Majed bin Abdullah Al Golia, where both sides explored areas of strategic collaboration to attract private capital and accelerate large-scale housing delivery in Nigeria. At the meeting, Dagunwa presented Nigeria's Renewed Hope housing program, describing it as a flagship intervention designed to deliver homes at scale across income segments through structured public-private partnership. The Rivers State government has denied allegations that it's blocked a pro-Tinubu group from using the Yakubu Gowon Stadium in Port Harcourt. Officials say the facility is undergoing major reconstructions and remain unsafe for large gathering due to underground piping and structural hazards. The government insisting that the decision was based solely on safety concerns and not political considerations. The Court of Appeal in Ilori, Kwara State has upheld the death sentences imposed on 5 men convicted over the 2018 Ofa bank robbery. The appellate court unanimously dismissed the convict appeals, affirming that the prosecution proved charges of armed robbery, illegal possession of firearms, and culpable homicide beyond reasonable doubt. Although the convicts retained the right to approach the Supreme Court, officials say the chances of overturning the verdict remains slim. Ondo State Police Command has dismantled a transnational human trafficking syndicate, arresting 6 suspects and rescuing 14 victims in 2 separate operations across the state. Police say a Togolese national reported that he was lured into Nigeria with promises of employment in Canada, only to be detained against his will after paying 800,000 francs, while others' investigation uncovered a group of Chadian migrants illegally recruited, transported through Cameroon and housed in Akure under the guise of online marketing jobs. Authorities say investigations are ongoing to apprehend fleeing suspects, while rescued victims will be handed over to their respective embassies for repatriation and further diplomatic actions. You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. News Express continues after this weather forecast with business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us.
Thank you for joining us. Here is a look at the weather outlook as we head into Saturday. Dust haze remain the dominant weather condition across the northern cities and the north-central region. However, higher concentration of dust particles are expected over parts of Taraba, Plateau, Kaduna, the Federal Capital Territory, and Niger State. While visibility is not expected to be significantly reduced, individuals with respiratory conditions are advised to take necessary precautions. And across the southern region, morning thunderstorms are likely over parts of Akwa Ibom, with more widespread thunderstorm activities expected across Ondo, Edo, Bayelsa, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, and River State. And that's the weather forecast. I am Akemi Samada.
business, the Senate has fixed March 17 for the final passage of the 58.47 trillion 2026 federal budget. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Solomon Adola, said the timeline includes public hearings, committee-level budget defense, and consultations with economic managers. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu presented the budget to the National Assembly in December, describing it as a framework for economic consolidation and shared prosperity. The federal government has expressed determination to overhaul Nigeria's cooperative sector through full digitalization. This is in a bid to improve transparency, governance, and access to economic opportunities for millions of Nigerians. The plan was unveiled in Abuja at the stakeholders meeting reviewing the Nigeria's Cooperative Societies Act. Correspondent Anita Patrick reports.
Nigeria's over 30,000 registered cooperative societies may soon operate a modern digital framework as the federal government intensifies efforts to reposition the sector as a key driver of inclusive economic growth. Speaking at a stakeholders meeting in Abuja, the Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliu Abdullahi, said digitalization will transform cooperative operations, ensure transparency in financial reporting, and strengthen trust among members.
The Cooperative Societies Act is one of the most efficient and critical legislations that governs the cooperative sector in Nigeria. It defines how we organize, regulate, supervise, promote, protect, and strengthen the cooperative movement.
According to him, cooperatives, when properly structured, can serve as powerful tools for capital mobilization, job creation, poverty reduction, and agricultural productivity. He said the key components of the reform include digital registration, a national cooperative database, electronic membership, identification, and improved filing and reporting systems. The minister also disclosed that a harmonized national document aligned with continental cooperative laws and declarations will soon be finalized, with international partners joining the reform process. The President's Cooperative Federation of Nigeria, Hanatu Mashek, noted that the initiative would boost confidence in cooperatives and unlock new opportunities across the sector.
By taking depositors' money, it means you have gone outside the cooperative principle. So this time around, the cooperative bank must align to the cooperative identity. That's the only thing. Anything outside it, we're not going to get it.
With agriculture and community enterprise at the heart of Nigeria's economic diversification drive, the federal government believes a digitally empowered cooperative system could become a major catalyst for shared prosperity. From Abuja, Anita Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has given domestic airlines 7 days to include special needs assistance options in their ticket reservation platforms. The directives aim to improve access and protection for passengers with disabilities and persons with reduced mobility. NCAA warned that airlines failing to comply will face regulatory sanctions. Let's go to the foreign scene now. The United Nations has warned that climate-driven flooding in Mozambique has displaced hundreds of thousands of people and overwhelmed temporary shelters. UNHCR says overcrowding, lack of basic services, and continued rainfall have left women, children, and elderly and persons with disability at heightened risk. Humanitarian agencies are appealing for urgent international funding as flood risks remain high and further displacement is expected. Venezuela's interim president, Declan Rodriguez, has announced a proposal for a sweeping amnesty covering political violence from 1999 to the present, weeks after the removal of former President Nicolas Maduro. Speaking at the Supreme Court in Caracas, Rodriguez also unveiled plans to shut down the notorious El Jalisco prison and convert it into a public facility for police, families, and surrounding communities. The reforms include new laws opening Venezuela's oil sector to private investment, have drawn strong support from the United States and President Donald Trump. The United States has stepped up pressure on Iran, with President Donald Trump confirming the deployment of a major U.S. naval base force to the Middle East. even though Tehran is seeking a deal to avert military confrontation. Speaking to the White House, President Donald Trump warned that diplomacy remains an option, but under very clear conditions. Correspondent Mukhtar Kasim reports more.
President Trump says Iran is eager to negotiate with Washington, but insists the United States will not hesitate to apply maximum pressure to protect its interests. The deployment, which Trump described as a massive naval presence, comes amid heightened concerns over Iran's nuclear program, ballistic missile development, and internal unrest. The U.S. president says the show of force is meant to reinforce America's position, stressing that dialogue will only proceed from a position of strength.
We have a large armada, flotilla, you can call it whatever you want, heading toward Iran right now, even larger than what we had in Venezuela. It's still in front of Venezuela. We're now sending actually a larger number of ships to Iran, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we do make a deal, that's good. If we don't make a deal, we'll see what happens.
President Trump also made reference to Venezuela, saying the country's leadership is stabilizing, noting that the United States is encouraging the international community to access Venezuela's oil resources for the benefit of its people.
The Venezuelan situation, the leadership is doing a very good job. We're very happy, and we're getting along very, very well. And we're inviting countries of the world very shortly. They're going to be starting to take the oil. We're going to be heading that with the country.
Trump further revealed that Iran had been given a deadline to comply with the United States demands, though he declined to disclose details. He cited reports of Tehran halting execution of protesters as a possible sign of compliance. However, the U.S. president avoided committing to any military course of action if talks fail, saying all options remain on the table. As tensions remain high, Washington maintains that diplomacy is still possible, but backed by overwhelming military strength. Mukhtar Kasim, reporting for Global Television News.
South Africa and Israel have expelled each other's top diplomats after Pretoria declared Israel's charge d'affaires, Ariel Saidman, persona non grata, for violating diplomatic norms and ordered him to leave within 72 hours. Israel swiftly retaliated by expelling South Africa's envoy to Palestine, Sean Edward Verdonor, as tensions between the two countries continue to escalate following South Africa's genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice. South African authorities accused Saidman of attacking President Cyril Ramaphosa on official social media platforms and facilitated unauthorized visits to Israeli officials, actions both sides say justify the unprecedented diplomatic fallout. In sports, Real Madrid will face Benfica in the Champions League playoff round following Friday's draw, setting up a quick rematch after the Portuguese side defeated them in the league phase. The loss pushed Madrid out of the top 8 and into the playoff, while Paris Saint-Germain will face domestic rival Monaco after finishing 11th in the standing. The two-legged ties will be played in February, with winners advancing to the last 16 in March ahead of the final in Budapest on May 30. The Nigeria's senior men handball team has crashed out of qualification for the 2027 IHF World Championship after a 25-20 defeat to Angola in Kigali, Rwanda. Despite leading at halftime, the Golden Arrows struggled at the second half after Farouk Yusuf was sent off, allowing Angola to dominate and secure Africa's 5th World Cup ticket. The loss ended Nigeria's campaign at the African Men Handball Nations Cup, despite strong performances from Hakeem Salami and Aziz Suleiman. Novak Djokovic has defeated reigning champion Jannik Sinner in a gripping 5-set semi-finals to reach the Australian Open in Melbourne. The 38-year-old Serbian star fought back from behind to win at 3-6, 6-3, 4-6, 6-4, 6-4, and will now face top seed Carlos Alcaraz in Sunday's final. The victory earned Djokovic a record-breaking 25th Grand Slam title, cementing his status as one of tennis' greatest players. As Global Television News Express comes to an end, here's a recap of top stories. The immediate past national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, has dismissed claims that Northern Nigeria could not support President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid in 2027. In business, the Senate has fixed March 17 for the final passage of the 58.47 trillion naira 2026 federal budget. On the foreign scene, Venezuela's interim president Declan Rodriguez has announced a proposal for a sweeping amnesty covering political violence from 1999 to the present, weeks after the removal of former President Nicolas Maduro. And in sports, we told you that Nigeria's senior men handball team has crashed out of qualification for the 2027 IHF World Championship after a 25-20 defeat to Angola in Kigali, Rwanda. And that's it on News Express. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTime channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now shown on your screen using @GlobalTVNG. I am Ubong Usoro. Bye for now.